Ghanaians through substantially subsidized water and electricity costs, hot meals and food packages distributed to vulnerable and underprivileged persons, increased allocation for the CAP bus scheme to support MSMEs, Ghana's CD 2 billion guarantee scheme established to support large businesses, established skills training programs in collaboration with social partners and faith-based organizations, and passage of urgent legislation to enforce COVID-19 safety protocols. Mr. Speaker, since the turn of the year, we have been purposefully pursuing the second phase of the Ghana Cares program to revitalize the economy and set it on track for transformation. As already articulated, our approach under this program is to revitalize the private sector in targeted sectors to fast-track competitive import substitution, export expansion, and the creation of decent jobs for our youth in a commercial environment that is increasingly regionally integrated. We have operationalized a well-thought-out implementation and coordination framework of a functional and staffed Ghana Cares Coordinating Office within the Ministry of Finance. Additionally, Ghana Cares delivery units, including sector specialists from the private sector, have been activated in all participating MDAs. Implementation compacts, Mr. Speaker, outlining the most critical interventions for 2021, delivery and reporting arrangements, as well as commitments by Ministry of Finance and participating MDAs have been signed. The participating ministries, departments, and agencies include the Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Trade and Industry, Ministry of Science and Technology, Ministry of Communications and Digitalization, MOTAC, GIPC, and GRA. Mr. Speaker, in line with our commitment to a functioning financial ecosystem and the Ghana Cares, we are establishing the building blocks for a stronger network of institutions to support businesses and entrepreneurship, including the Development Bank of Ghana, GERSO, the Ghana Commodity Exchange Venture Capital Trust, and the recently established Ghana Enterprises Agency. This network of institutions would anchor a new age of entrepreneurship, job creation, and wealth building for our post-COVID transformation. Mr. Speaker, to modernize our agricultural sector, we are investing in initiatives that would improve production and productivity in the rice, poultry, soybean, tomato, and cassava subsectors this year. The recent engagement with all the value chain actors in these subsectors has sharpened the focus of investment in a holistic manner. We are therefore providing interest rate subsidies, facilitating equipment acquisition, linking markets and producers, as well as producing relevant research in these subsectors. The youth are being supported this year to become outgrowers for anchor farmers and boost participation in commercial farming. Mr. Speaker, Ghana Cares is providing catalytic support to drive efficiency and improve outputs in the agriculture sector by investing in data and digital technology. These technologies will revolutionize the targeting of inputs such as seed inputs, extension services, and acquisition of land for commercial farming. Additionally, the program will support the reform of the fertilizer subsidy system using digital technology to make it more efficient and less prone to smuggling. This will be achieved by registering farmers for improved targeting. The registration will provide information on farmers, biodata, crops cultivated, acreage, digital location of farms, track seed and fertilizer subsidy programs. By end February 2022, 1.2 million farmers will be registered. Mr. Speaker, thank you. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, the program will support the reform of the fertilizer subsidy program. Mr. Speaker, accelerated expansion of Ghana's light manufacturing is a focus under Ghana Cares. Government is delivering dedicated support to expand the production capacity of our pharmaceutical, garments, and textiles industries, as well as the processing capacity of our agro-processors to increase exports and create additional jobs. Specific interventions include support for the establishment of a cassava processing plant, provision of technical assistance to the garment and textiles industry, as well as the pharmaceutical industries. Key pharmaceutical manufacturing companies are being supported to upgrade their operations to attain good manufacturing practice standards and benefit from the African Continental Free Trade Area. Additionally, government is working feverishly to establish a garment industrial park in Dawa, which will boost exports and create additional jobs under the Ghana Cares program. Mr. Speaker, rapid acquisition of capabilities to manufacture machine tools to support industrialization is a major priority under Ghana Cares. Government and MESTI has therefore established a foundry for the fabrication of tools and is in the process of identifying suitable private sector operator to manage the foundry. We are also providing incentives to the private sector to manufacture key agricultural implements and prototype industrial research on a commercial basis. Mr. Speaker, we are aggressively promoting international and domestic tourism through Ghana Cares by supporting the modernization and development of selected tourist sites. We are therefore upgrading the scale of sector operators, working to reduce the cost of doing business and improving the competitiveness of enterprises in the sector, as well as transforming targeted tourist beaches to increase patronage, such as in Sakumono, Axim, and Elmina. Mr. Speaker, in support of government's agenda to provide sustainable and completed affordable housing, we are providing funds to the National Home Ownership Fund. This fund, to be matched by participating financial institutions, will provide low blended mortgage interest rates of between 11 to 12%, as compared to the current market rates between 25 to 26%. Through this intervention, which builds upon and expands the pilot project implemented last year, our quest to promote residential home ownership while boosting the domestic construction sector to provide more jobs is on course. Mr. Speaker, Ghana Cares is providing catalytic investment for the development of communication infrastructure this year. Government is consolidating and expediting projects such as Smart Workshop, National ID, digital address systems, land record digitization, as well as virtual learning platforms to bridge the digital divide for the benefit of all citizens. Funds have been allocated to the Ministry of Communication and Digitalization for the establishment of digital and innovation hubs in 4 additional cities, following the successful pilot of the Digital and Innovation Hub in Accra. These hubs will eventually be expanded to all regions in subsequent years. Mr. Speaker, ongoing efforts to consolidate the fiber assets of Volta River Authority, Electricity Company of Ghana, Ghana Great Company Limited, Ghana National Gas Company Limited, Bureau of National Communication, Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communication, and others are being sustained under this program. We are also enhancing the capacity of key institutions and improving coordination with the private sector for quality service delivery to facilitate business expansion and economic transformation. Mr. Speaker, government is aware of the critical importance of additional revenue to finance all these initiatives that underpin our recovery and transformation agenda. Indeed, we are committed to raising our tax to GDP from the current 14% to 20% as our peers in the sub-region. The Ghana Revenue Authority is therefore implementing a transformation agenda to block the huge leakages in key sectors of the economy. This transformation agenda is not just about mobilizing more, it is equally about mobilizing efficiently through technology and integrated data systems. We have also established, as I mentioned, the RACE initiative to complement the efforts of the Ghana Revenue Authority, the remit to identify and prevent revenue leakages whilst reinforcing the culture of compliance nationwide. A formal launch of this initiative is scheduled for Monday, 2nd August 2021. Mr. Speaker, The GIPC also has a crucial role to play under the Ghana Cares program by spearheading the mobilization of 70 billion Ghana cedis in private sector investment. We are supporting GIPC to be more targeted and proactive in seeking investment into the prioritized sectors for the nation. The intentional and dedicated effort to attract global and regional brands in the likes of Twitter, Google, will be leveraged to grow local enterprises. Mr. Speaker, as part of measures to mitigate the impact of unanticipated future socioeconomic crises such as COVID-19 pandemic on Ghanaian workers, government announced in the 2020 mid-year review of fiscal policy the establishment of the National Unemployment Insurance Scheme and training-retraining programs as part of the Ghana Cares Ofori-Atta program. Mr. Speaker, we are currently in the design phase of the National Unemployment Scheme, and key stakeholders are being consulted. The consultations will be scaled up to include more stakeholders and technical experts to ensure that the project design suits the Ghanaian labor market. Mr. Speaker, the implementation of the training and retraining component of the program has been accelerated. Government, together with the social partners, have decided to pilot the national training and retraining program in the two sectors that were mostly affected by the pandemic, namely the private education sector and the hospitality and tourism sector. The compacts which have been signed between the Ministries of Finance and the number of MDAs specify specific results to be achieved by the MDAs and the catalytic resources to be provided by the Ministry of Finance. Each compact includes a clear results tracking framework with further releases of funds tied to performance. I'm happy to report that this exciting performance-based arrangement is up and running. The catalytic resources have started flowing, and the MDAs are energized and getting on with the activities. The compacts ensure effective and timely delivery of targets under Ghana Cares for 2021. Mr. Speaker, government is demonstrably committed to the nation's economic recovery and eventual transformation as envisioned by the Ghana Cares program. We are innovating new ways to get results. We are engaging all actors to secure key participation and involvement. We are aggressively mobilizing resources to deliver the program. The recent urgency brought to bear by our youth is appreciated. We will continue to prioritize the opportunities as a means for this transformation journey. Mr. Speaker, the implementation of the Ghana Cares complement the existing flagship programs such as Free SHS, PFG, 1D, 1F, among others, which are being rationalized to enhance the quality of life of our people and further advance our transformation agenda. To this end, the recent challenges relating to the school feeding program and IPEP and caterers are being resolved. Mr. Speaker, despite the generally strong performance of our economy in recent decades, the issue of unemployment and jobs for our youth, who constitute close to 71% of our population, persists. This situation has been exacerbated by the pandemic, by the impact of this pandemic. Taking the lesson from our recent past, we are deliberately intervening to avoid a jobless economic growth and recovery. Mr. Speaker, at the strategic level, our comprehensive and holistic response to the employment and jobs issue remains anchored on the private sector. It is for this reason that government's recovery program transformation agenda is easing the constraints of the private sector to enable them to expand and provide jobs for the youth. A recent survey indicated that about 50% of local employers report misalignment of or inadequacy of skills in the market. It also reports that at least 50% of new tertiary institutions entrants are enrolling in programs in sectors with no or little growth in labor market. Mr. Speaker, in response to this, we are strengthening the links between education and job market stakeholders. We are also revitalizing the skills development initiatives and the Ghana Enterprises Agency, NEIP, YEA, and CODVET. We are also feverishly working on a scheme that enables the private sector to train new recruits entrants at a subsidized rates by government. Mr. Speaker, our intention of building an entrepreneurial nation is already known. We aim to empower our youth to be at ease and venture into businesses. The cleanup of the financial sector and the invigoration of the entrepreneurial ecosystem is expected to help remove the binding constraints of financing and market linkages for our daring youth. Our focus will remain on establishing a strong value system for entrepreneurship to flourish. Mr. Speaker, recognizing that more needs to be done, government is today announcing a 1 million jobs initiatives to aggressively respond to the needs of the country. This is to promote growth in SMEs, support new ventures, and stimulate innovation and startups. Mr. Speaker, the Enterprise and Youth Support Fund, which aligns with government's overall strategy of developing a competitive and viable private sector economy, will set up a youth bank with the aim of financing youth-led startup businesses across the country. As part of this initiative, an online investment hub will be established for youth across the country to access information for the purpose of establishing businesses. It is estimated over 100,000 jobs will be created through this. Mr. Speaker, the Venture Fund Trust, which is being revamped to be better positioned to carry out the designated activities, also as a fund manager. Mr. Speaker, we are also pursuing the Ofori-Atta Youth Entrepreneurship Drive, Ghana Skills and Entrepreneurship Development Project, Student Entrepreneurship Initiative, the Youth in Community Improvement Model, and the Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program as direct interventions in targeted sectors to help our youth live decent lives and contribute to nation building. These interventions are clearly designed to bring us closer to confronting the jobs and employment challenges of our youth. To ensure dedicated resources, the Ministry of Finance and all participating institutions will next month sign an implementation compact on youth employment, which will tie release of resources to delivery of results. This compact will also track youth-focused initiatives across the value chain of interventions under the Ghana Cares program. Women-focused interventions. Mr. Speaker, our women have been disproportionately impacted by COVID-19 pandemic. Government is activating a policy to have 20% of procurements awarded to women. Women will also be supported with specific capacity building programs and will be empowered to leverage the danger-sensitive lending policies to be implemented by the Development Bank of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, His Excellency declared 2021 as the second year of roads, and government prioritized roads for economic development and putting the economy back on track following the devastating impact of COVID-19 pandemic. From January to end June 2021, routine maintenance was carried out on 11,174 kilometers of trunk road network, 5,389 kilometers of the feeder road network, and 2,937 kilometers of the urban road network. Additionally, periodic maintenance comprising regraveling, spot improvement, and resealing works were carried out in the same period on 44, 167, and 262 camp phase of the project, which involves the third tier of the interchange, is expected to take off by third quarter 2021, following the completion of phase 1 of the Obecha-Bilamte Circle interchange and other ancillary works. Work on phase 2 has started and currently at a physical progress of 15%. In 2020, works were also started on the La Beach Road project, which involves improving capacity along the Accra-Tama Beach Road and the construction of a 3-tier Mr. Speaker, physical progress of work on the Kumasi Lake roads and drainage extension projects is 73% complete as at the end of June 2021. The construction of 7 bridges is also on the way, and the completion with 4 bridges launched and 1 at substructure level. Overall progress is 70% at the end of June 2021. Mr. Speaker, works began in 2020 for the construction of 50 bridges nationwide aimed at improving connectivity within areas cut off by waterways. The first batch of 21 steel bridge components have arrived in the country. Work has started on 14 of the substructures and 3 were completed. Government has awarded contracts for the implementation of 84 critical regional and inter-regional roads projects of an estimated length of 2,237 kilometers at a cost of 7.8 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, even though Ghana remains a pillar of stability in the region, the sub-regional security situation continues to be rather volatile. Terrorist threats and general cross-border security issues are becoming increasingly eminent in view of the continuous terrorist attacks in the Sahel region, and particularly from Mali and Burkina Faso. In particular, the southward drift of the activities of violent extremists, terrorists, and pirates in the Gulf of Guinea have become more widespread, frequent, and deadly with the underlying dynamics. Mr. Speaker, it becomes imperative that we address the existing vulnerabilities and intensify preemptive, preventive, and countermeasures to any potential threats to our security and sovereignty in the light of the risks of the sub-region suffering from the contagion effects in the short to medium term. Mr. Speaker, government has revamped and retooled the Ghana Boundary Commission since the beginning of 2021 to undertake its strategic mandate of determining and demarcating the land boundaries and delimitation of maritime boundaries of Ghana in accordance with accepted principles of international law. Mr. Speaker, we are also working further to retool the intelligence agencies through the deployment of enhanced intelligence infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, Ghana continues to demonstrate leadership on sub-regional issues coordinated through the Accra Initiative, which serves as a coordinated and intelligence sharing platform of neighboring countries. Mr. Speaker, we'll come to this honorable House in support of the security of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund was established to mobilize, manage, coordinate, and provide financial resources for investment and infrastructure projects and ease the burden of quasi-public debt on our budget. Over the last decade, we've witnessed an increasing trend where sovereign funds have been deployed as catalysts for growth and development in emerging markets such as Asia and Middle East. This is also beginning to be adopted in Africa, and the government of Ghana intends to allow GIF to increasingly play such a role for Ghana. The government intends to reduce our infrastructure gap by enabling GIF to drive sizable but economically viable infrastructure projects to conclusion, which will also create additional fiscal space for government to operate. As such, we've nominated GIF as a vehicle to be used to restructure and refinance expensive debt of the independent power producers in the energy sector, as well as take energy equity positions in some cases to help reduce the fiscal burden of overcapacity charges we've been left with. Negotiations with several of the independent power producers are in their final stages. Government also intends to use GIF as a vehicle under the Ghana Cares program to drive our structural transformation through funding for critical infrastructure such as the district hospitals, Agenda 111, quality and affordable housing, improved rail and road networks, and ICT infrastructure. We've therefore revised the Earmark Funds Act to allow a 20% increase in the allocation of ABFA capex to GIF for the funding of Agenda 111 and other development expenditure. Mr. Speaker, on the 26th of April 2020, His Excellency the President, as part of his 8th address to the nation on government's efforts to combat the coronavirus pandemic, laid out an ambitious plan to tackle Ghana's health infrastructure deficit and restore the country on the path of achieving economic and social transformation. This transformation project, now dubbed Agenda 111, will require the government to construct 101 standard district hospitals, 6 new regional hospitals, 1 regional hospital for the Western region, rehabilitation of a Ofori-Atta hospital in the Western region, constructing 2 new psychiatric hospitals, construction of a new Accra psychiatric hospital. The objective is to use the local teams comprising of Ghanaian consultants, project managers, and construction firms. It is envisaged that upon the successful completion of Agenda 111, Ghanaians across the country will experience a marked improvement in access to healthcare. Mr. Speaker, government and the project coordinating team have worked tirelessly on phase 1, and I'm happy to report that pre-contract works have been completed for 88 sites for the district hospitals. Mr. Speaker, we expect to commence phase 2 construction 3 weeks from now, from 17th August 2021. Mr. Speaker, an important project such as Agenda 111 requires extensive preparation and due diligence. We are confident and happy with the level of detail and attention that has gone into the pre-contract works. Rehabilitation and expansion of the Sunyani Airport. Mr. Speaker, the rehabilitation and expansion of the Sunyani Airport aligns with government's policy objective to have at least an operational aerodrome airstrip in each of the regions in the country. The rehabilitation expansion will adequately address the current operational challenges and propel business and industrial growth in the Puno region and its catchment area. Lands and mining. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, in line with the President, has held a national dialogue followed by 2 regional dialogues on small-scale mining. Following this, several measures are being put in place to build a sustainable, viable, and responsible small-scale mining industry that protects the national environment. The Ministry will beef up the personnel and other logistics of the Inspectorate Division of the Minerals Commission to undertake strict monitoring and enforcement of our mining laws. The Lands Commission has commenced the process of regional education and sensitization on the new Land Act 2020, Act 1036. Efforts to protect forests and recover lost ones have included Green Ghana project, which saw the planting of over 5 million trees on June 11, 2021, the Green Ghana Day. The outright ban on the harvesting and exportation of rosewood, and the declaration of forest reserve in red zones for mining. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry also has a program for alternative employment and livelihoods, which will be rolled out soon. As part of these efforts, the program will be anchored on 6 main interventions, namely national land reclamation and reforestation, agriculture and agro-processing, apprenticeship, skills training and entrepreneurship, responsible, viable, and sustainable community mining, mine support services, and community enhancement projects. These initiatives will target mainly illegal miners displaced by the ongoing efforts to sanitize the mining industry. Government recognizes the need to protect our environment just as it finds it necessary to provide alternative employment and livelihoods for our compatriots who will inevitably fall through the cracks. Mr. Speaker, initially this will be in the Ashanti, Eastern, Western, Western North, Central regions. We are determined to ensure the responsible or sustainable exploitation of the lands and natural resources of our country. Mr. Speaker, on energy, the COVID-19 pandemic has amplified the campaign for a transition away from fossil fuels. Given the prevailing sentiment around energy transition, there's a strong possibility that Ghana may be left with stranded assets unless we accelerate our exploration activities and develop a homegrown strategy to extract our fossil fuel. As such, GNPC is looking at opportunities for its subsidiary, GNPC Explore Co., to acquire such assets and become an operator in its own right to ensure the expeditious development of our hydrocarbon resources. The new strategy may require an amendment or revision of the PRMA to allow GNPC enter into some reserve-based lending transactions in order to be able to raise the required financing to consummate these acquisitions and to finance exploration and development of such fields without having to rely primarily on GOG for funding. Mr. Speaker, to that extent, GMPG has already identified some major potential acquisition targets of offshore blocks and has entered into discussions with the shareholders with an aim of acquiring controlling equity stake and eventually becoming operators through Exploco. We shall always come back to the House with any agreements once concluded. Mr. Speaker, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals call for urgent action by all countries aimed at encouraging sustained economic growth underpinned by social, economic, and environmental sustainability, a blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet now and in the future. Accordingly, the government of Ghana recognizes that we must be at the forefront and promote the building blocks for an inclusive and sustainable recovery. Our focus remains to move urgently toward opportunities and solutions that achieve sustainable and broad-based economic growth without harming our climate or leaving hundreds of millions of families in poverty. As such, government has commenced discussions with international organizations such as the World Economic Forum to identify SDG financing gap and develop a roadmap to attract innovative finance to close the gap for the attainment of the SDGs by 2020. Ghana and Switzerland have also agreed on a roadmap for 50 million tons of carbon capture. Globally, the international capital markets is moving its financing appetite towards sustainable initiative that supports such goals. Ghana is also keen on positioning itself to benefit from the desire to provide such financing by developing an ESG framework which will allow proceeds raised or an amount equivalent to such proceeds raised to be used for financing or refinancing eligible green and sustainable projects such as renewable energy, health, education-related infrastructure, amongst others. Mr. Speaker, our partnership with FBOs has directly and indirectly benefited over 46,000 and 100,000 trainees, respectively, in fashion, catering, cosmetology, electronics, sub-business, and managerial skills. Efforts are being made to roll out the next phase by end of the third quarter. We continue to come.
Okunkunim kofe jinane so akwara padi kokwe hu ededa manamana echire no ne adehyiamra kroma dansidi fo mehwe kasemu chira awawade esumu apai mo hire nyakwa pie awawasem nie we die bi si pen ne Neat FM ya mamwa kwaba.